In the cozy living room of The Big Bang Theory, a sitcom universe defined by comic books, awkward genius, and a whiteboard full of quantum mechanics, there existed a moment of oddly tender calm. Whenever Sheldon Cooper, the brilliant yet socially inept physicist, felt under the weather, he had a singular request: to be serenaded with the lullaby, Soft Kitty. Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. For millions of viewers, this song became a symbol of Sheldon's rare vulnerability, a lullaby that warmed the geeky corners of the show with its simple melody and soothing repetition. It became merch. It became memes. It was sung in households far beyond Pasadena. But what if I told you this cuddly little kitty carried with it sharp legal claws? In the warm, glowing aftermath of the show's peak, amid reruns and box set nostalgia, a surprising headline broke: the producers of The Big Bang Theory had been sued. The plaintiff, not a jealous scientist or a rival sitcom. It was poetry. Well, technically, the heirs of a poet named Edith Newlin. The origins of the song. Let's backtrack for a moment, all the way to 1937. Edith Newlin, a New Hampshire-born teacher and writer, contributed to a collection of songs and poems for children. One of these was a sweet little rhyme that went: soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Sleepy kitty, happy kitty, purr, purr, purr. Sound familiar? The rhyme appeared in a book titled Songs for the Nursery School, published by Willis Music Company. It was a collection aimed at preschool educators, filled with folk songs, playtime chants, and lullabies. For decades, this book sat quietly in the corner of early education libraries, waiting to be dusted off. Fast forward to the early 2000s, the creative minds behind The Big Bang Theory stumbled upon this charming little tune. It fit perfectly with Sheldon's character, a lullaby so childlike it could bypass his rigid, logic-first brain and tap into some long-lost human softness. It wasn't long before the song became a regular gag on the show. First introduced in Season 1, Episode 11, The Pancake Batter Anomaly, it became a recurring motif, a kind of emotional cheat code for Sheldon's rare displays of affection and comfort. Fans adored it. It spawned shirts, mugs, plush toys, and even musical cards. The lyrics were etched into pop culture. But not everyone was purring with delight. Enter the lawsuit. In 2015, Edith Newlin's daughters, Ellen and Margaret, filed a lawsuit against CBS and the show's producers, claiming copyright infringement. They argued that the lyrics used in The Big Bang Theory were lifted directly from their mother's poem, and that the show's producers had failed to obtain the necessary rights to use them. The twist: Willis Music Company, the publisher of the original book, had previously granted rights to Warner Bros. Television for the song's use in the show, so the network believed they had followed proper protocol. But the Newlin heirs contended that Willis never owned the lyrics in the first place, Edith did, and therefore could not license something they didn't possess. It was a legal conundrum. Who really owned the rights to a nursery rhyme written almost 80 years ago? Was it the publisher, who'd released the book? Or the poet, whose words had been brought back into the spotlight through one of the most popular sitcoms of the 21st century? The lawsuit, filed in a federal court in New York, didn't claim astronomical damages. It wasn't about millions of dollars. Instead, it raised important questions about intellectual property, artistic attribution, and the often blurry line between inspiration and appropriation. It also gave fans pause: could something so innocent, so purely associated with comfort and humor, be the subject of a court battle? The legal drama behind the laugh track. The case simmered quietly, not quite exploding into the public consciousness like a scandal or casting shake-up might. Still, it lingered in entertainment legal circles as a peculiar example of the way old texts can find strange new life in modern media. By 2017, a judge ruled in favor of CBS, dismissing the lawsuit. The decision hinged on a few technicalities, notably that the plaintiffs had waited too long to file the complaint, and that the use of the lyrics constituted fair use in a creative context. The ruling closed the book on the lawsuit, but the situation remained a cautionary tale in the industry. If a 1930s lullaby could cause a problem for one of television's biggest franchises, what other hidden copyrights might be buried in dusty songbooks, waiting to leap out like a curious kitten? A cultural artifact. So what became of Soft Kitty? It continues to live on in syndication, YouTube compilations, and fan sing-alongs. The song, like the show itself, is now a relic of early 2010s pop culture, a softer, gentler time when quantum physics jokes and robotic hugs made for primetime comfort viewing. The lawsuit, for all its legal nuance, never seemed to tarnish the song's legacy. If anything, it gave the lullaby a strange new layer of intrigue. It wasn't just a fictional comfort tune, it was real, and its origins were far more storied than most fans knew. In a way, it's almost poetic. A song written by a quiet poet-teacher, meant for sleepy toddlers, eventually traveled across decades to become the emotional heartbeat of a neurotic physicist. And for a brief moment, that journey led it to a federal courtroom in Manhattan, where lawyers debated the finer points of intellectual property law, over a Kitty song. Only in America. Epilogue, singing the last note. Today, the soft kitty moment remains a fan favorite. It may never again be used quite so freely in TV scripts without legal double checks, but its impact on The Big Bang Theory is undeniable. It's one of those rare pop culture moments where character, humor, and nostalgia converge. After all, Sheldon Cooper may have been a stickler for rules, but even he couldn't resist the power of a warm kitty, a sleepy kitty, and a perfectly timed lullaby, even if it came with a side of litigation. Would you like a version with a more journalistic or legal-focused tone instead?